everybody, welcome back to another lockpicking video. And yeah, today we're going to have a look on this very nice size IKON lock. And this is a proper lock. This is not something, I guess, that would be picked in a real world situation or so. It has quite some tricks up its sleeve. It runs as a black belt lock in the LPU belt system. And it took me quite some time to study it and get it under control. Why is it so difficult? Well, look at the key. It has 6 pins and then it has this. And if you look closely inside the keyway, you can see just on the right side the hellish finger pins that await us here. Here sits the sidebar that blocks the rotation, and they must be lifted to the right height and turned to the right direction in order to give room to the sidebar. But I realized quite quickly that picking this will be so difficult that I will probably not comment my pick, but just concentrate on the pick. And so I opted for, a silent picking video, but then I thought, well, I must explain you what I do. And so I will try to do my explaining how to overcome this lock while I'm picking silently. And I will just overlay pictures and animations and talk over the pick. And this will be interesting for me because I've never done that. So it will be quite some editing fun. Let's get this in a vise and see how everything turns out. See you back in a second. Okay, here we are back in the vise. I'm doing the voiceover now. And first of all, of course, testing the key works fine. Still everything is working, and let's see if we can get it open. So I put a tensioner in, just a 1mm tensioner from Multipick, and then I start picking the main stack with a shallow hook in 0.5mm, the SK6 from Multipick. And to give you an idea what I'm doing inside the lock, I thought it's best to overlay here a small picture of the core with all the pins in it. So the key pins are in the core, and then on top are the driver pins. We have very nice spools in chambers 2, 3 and 4. The others are standard. And these spools are a bit special because they are tapered on both ends, and therefore you have to pick them a couple of times until they stay at shear line. And what's also special about them is the diameter. If you look here on the gaps inside the hole, how they fill out the core, are a bit larger than the standard pins, which makes them bind first. And therefore it's best to start off with the spools and then pick the standard pins. And now I have the spools picked, and you hear these loud clicks, hopefully. And these are mainly the standard pins now. And I'm progressing, so just picking the standard pins still. And in just a second, I hope we hear a loud click, which should happen about now. So we saw also a small core movement, and this means the main stack is picked. And now it's time to manipulate the finger pins on the side of the lock, which work together with a sidebar to block the rotation of the core. Here I have a picture of one of these finger pins. On the top you have the nose, which interacts with the key, and on the back side you have the serrations and the large cutout where the sidebar falls into. On top here you see how they interact with the key when it's pushed in or pulled out. So the key lifts and rotates them. And here I draw in red lines where they need to be rotated to. So most of them need to be pulled out, only 1 and 4 are pushed in to the lock. Here's the sidebar slot and the sidebar. Only when they're arranged correctly, the sidebar can fall into and allow the core to rotate. So while the key has it rather easy to lift those pins to the right position and turn them to the right position, we have to do it manually with flags. And I'm using 2 flags to do that. Here you see the smaller one in action. This is the number 10 flag from Multipick. And up here in the insert, you see how this can interact with the finger pins. And this is quite nice because, you can do basically everything with the finger pins. You can turn them, you can lift them. But it has one advantage. It is a bit flimsy, and if you really want to turn the pins under stress while keeping the tension, it's a bit difficult. Therefore, I use a stronger flag, the number 9 flag, which is a curved flag, just like shown here in the insert. And with this one, I can just go into the keyway and just push and pull on the noses and really nicely turn them. This was quite nice to split this up somehow, because some just didn't want to turn with the small flag, so the big gun made it possible. But still, I used this number 10 flag always to probe the pin states, because like in every locking mechanism, you will always have binding pins and non-binding pins, and this is the same with the finger pins here. So I noticed rather early in this lock that once I have the main stack picked, the first finger pin will bind. And this one you can easily set with the number 10 flag, and then you can really do a nice jiggle test on that pin. And you can always come back to that and check if it's still there. And sometimes it just fell right out of the set position again, and you had to come back and so on. And so pin 1, you just need to push in a bit and then push down. And this is what I do in the beginning of the picking the sidebar or the finger pins. And from then on, you try to find the other binders. And there you can just go from pin to pin, and most of the time I had really hard time to get them binding and get the feedback from them. And only in this pick it worked out very nicely. I noticed quite early that it just played along. And most of the time I'm poking around in this pick on pin 3, because this is so hard to pick and I spent so much time on it. I even drew a black line on the pick just to find pin 3, and this is a good idea to know where you are in the lock. And here I noticed that I got feedback and I could get pin 3 to bind finally, but still I needed to set it. And now I'm just finishing up, and I think I have pin 3 set, and now pin 2 is remaining. I set pin 6 earlier and pin 5 also earlier. And here we go. Let's just listen into the last clicks and enjoy. Yes. What? Okay. That felt so good. Wow. Okay, I've never gotten so good feedback with that lock. So we are open, as you can see. Let me put that here. Lucy, focus. Don't do anything stupid now. Wow. Okay. Quickest I've ever picked that. Super happy. Oh, come on. Could you please focus? There we go. Okay, clearly picked. So let's lock it back up. Then I will get this and meet you back in a second after fast forward. Whoa. Okay, welcome back from fast forward. Here are all the pins. This is the housing, and yeah, here's the main stack basically. Then we have the sidebar groove here on the right, and then some other grooves for the finger pins. And only the sidebar groove is so deep that the sidebar is caught, so you could actually rotate it 360, I think. I've never tried actually. And this is a core. Here's the top view with the room for the finger pins, sidebar window, and the 6 chambers. And yeah, that's all on the core basically. Then before I grab the whole tray and show you all the pins, here's the sidebar. So you can see I've not messed with that either or so. And this black dot you see is a felt marker, which I put towards the back of the lock, like this. So let's have a look at all the pins. Maybe I have to reduce brightness again. Yeah, just like that, perfect. So we have the main stack with the key pins all being standard. One is a steel, the others are brass or so. And chambers 2 and 4 are mastered. Then on the drivers we have steel in 1, and standards in 5 and 6, and the others are spools with a very nice taper. And the spools are actually a bit thicker, which made them bind first. And they had such shear if you look at pin effectiveness, but I hope I've shown that during the pick. Now the finger pins. All of them have these very nice serrations, as you can see. And unfortunately, if you can see from left to right, pin 2 and pin 4 are a bit mastered. So they would work probably on 2 positions. 4 is only 1 rotation. This one is pushed back, and pin 2 can actually work in 2 rotations, I think. Yes. So yeah, quite an exhausting journey. This is my fastest pick by far. I've picked this lock now I think 3 times on camera. First time was almost 40 minutes, then like 20 minutes, and now much quicker. Super happy with that. And yeah, just it is so difficult to set these finger pins, and super happy that it worked out now. So who's still here, thank you very much for watching, and yeah, if you're new here, please subscribe, and yeah, hope to see you in the next video. Bye!